What's up, Josh?
How's it going?
All right.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. This episode of Scoop TV, we're without our big toe of the foot, Scott. He's on an airplane heading back to California.
Oh yeah.
He's been out hitting the recruiting trail across the country. But we've got John Jackson III with us this morning. And I can't tell you how excited I am. He's one of my favorite guys on the team. I mean, look at that smile. And if I look closely, it looks like he's on campus. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We've been out here. I've been working this whole little quarantine thing with Amon-Ra, so we've been out here for probably ever since it ended. We moved here, I want to say 3 months ago. It's been working ever since.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little place. I'll give you guys a preview
Oh, man.
on campus.
I know exactly where you're at.
I've been watching those Amon-Ra workouts. I didn't peep you out there, but it's good to know that you've been getting it in with those guys.
No, yeah, he's a little bit better at social media than I am. Yeah, he's always having camera dudes out there, but I have a video coming out, so I'll probably drop that soon since we're coming back.
So how was that decision made? I mean, for you and Amon-Ra to decide to stay on campus as opposed to shuttering back home with family?
So originally, like right when we got the leave, we stayed on campus for a little bit. We kind of had the idea that like we both similar minded and both have like that goal of trying to reach that top level. Whether it's not even beyond SC, like just trying to get to NFL. And
Right.
so we worked out a little bit. We went back home briefly.
Okay.
His brother actually has a house out here, and he stayed with him for a little bit, and I stayed at home, just to get family time, but still working. And then when we like got the new apartment we moved into, we all just said, like we can just commute together and it'll be easier.
Okay. So were there any health concerns that went into this decision? Because I'm sure people are aware, what's going on.
Yeah.
By the way, how is your dad?
He's good. Yeah, he stays at home. He's not. I try to, I still talk to him, but I try to stay away just because I'm different. Like I go out more a little bit, and I don't want to really put him at that risk.
Right.
But as far as health concerns, like obviously this is a serious issue, and we're being very careful. Like we're not hanging in big groups, but at the same time, me personally, I just have this idea that I can't let it affect what my goal is. I understand that it's tragic and you got to be smart. I'm not out here shaking hands and everything, but at the same time, like life can't stop, and it's important that I still work out and still try to get better.
Right. One more question, and then I'm going to turn over to Brandon and Blake to ask. So besides you and Amon-Ra, are there any other players that you're working out with that are on campus still?
I don't know anybody that's on campus still. I know I've seen Chris Steele occasionally. Like I probably saw him twice maybe, like because we do one-on-one, so I probably saw him twice.
Okay.
But as far as other SC players, not as much. I mean personally, just from what I do and what we do.
Yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing them soon. So.
Oh yeah.
Brandon, Blake.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the other dudes are working out wherever they are. Everybody's spread out and stuff. But you kind of talked about that, and it's good to see you guys or hear you guys working out on campus and stuff. So have you been with the NCAA saying or the Pac-12 saying that everybody can return come June 15th? Have you guys heard anything about possibly starting workouts or PRPs soon?
I think so. I mean, they said like there's a possibility of us coming back June 15th. I haven't heard it for sure yet. I know that they're working hard to try to get us back and trying to figure out ways that we could still practice, but still got to respect the social distancing.
Right.
I'm not sure how that's going to work on our end. My whole thing is as long as they continue to pay for my education, you will not hear a complaint from me. I'll just sit back. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. So that's kind of the mindset. But I mean, as far as us coming back, I don't know how it's going to work.
Hey, John, can you kind of talk about your relationship with your dad and what it was like having him as a role model and as a father growing up and being a football player? Now you're at SC, of course, just like he was. Can you talk about what that dynamic has been like for you?
It's been huge. I know especially after last season, you know, obviously I didn't do the things that I hoped for. It didn't go the way I wanted to. And like towards the end of the season, I was really angry and, you know, pissed off, excuse my language, but
No, please, that's what we're all about.
I was pissed off, and I was like, I remember I came home one day and I was just livid. And he sat me down and he was telling me, you know, he said, you got to understand that, he's like, is your goal to try to be like right away? Like, he's like, he went down a list of NFL players that their stats their freshman year. And to me, when he said, like, he broke down all their stats their freshman year, was like, it's not about what you do that first year. It's about what you can become. He's like, he said, I want to say he used the receiver for the Seahawks. He caught 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Okay, I don't know the name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
And he said he was at Foot Locker working before he made that career ending. So he's like, his thing was, you know, I understand it's not how you want it, but you got to use that to fuel yourself and use it to make yourself a better player. And, you know, honestly, that's the whole thing that I had in my head during this whole quarantine, like just how pissed off I was about last season. And, you know, every day I'm working out with a purpose about trying to fix it. If every workout I go to, I just think about that, what happened last season before I go in. So it keeps me, that was like his biggest thing, is just to use that, what didn't go your way, and then find a way to make it into something positive that can go your way.
I cannot tell you how much I appreciate hearing those words come out of your mouth, being so candid about how you felt. And I'm wondering, you know, because you actually appeared in 11 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
What was part of that frustration because none of the balls found your direction?
Yeah, so I mean, it was a combination of both. You know, I totally get it. Team sport. I love, you know, I'll do anything for the team. But at the same time, I was mad it didn't find my direction. And then I was mad at how, like, looking back on it, I was like, you know what? I didn't get any targets. I could have used it as a red shirt. So, like, from a team standpoint, I understand, like, maybe I went in to help the team. You know, I know we had a play, I want to say BYU. It was the fourth quarter. It was fourth quarter. And they had switched personnel, and we were limited on timeouts, and nobody, like, we went from 11 to 10 personnel, and no other receiver came in. And I remember Coach KC was looking for guys, because I think that drive, it was Amon-Ra, who just had a big play, and he was gassed.
Mm.
And so immediately, like, when Coach KC was looking for guys, like, that'd be a time I ran out. So I would say that would be a time I helped the team. But, you know, selfishly, I'm looking back, like, you know, no targets. I could use it as a red shirt, would have had another year under my belt, especially with the like the new rule where you go 5 games. Like, you know, that was just kind of the thought process that was going through my head, and why, you know, I was frustrated. But then at the same time, you know, I understand what I had to do, and it is what I had to do.
Again, the reason why I appreciate these types of comments, we had one of your teammates, Jason Rodriguez, on last week. Mm-hmm. And something that he was very reflective on was, during this time, is that he learned that he had to be coachable, and he was ready to admit that. And I'm hearing a little bit about that from you too.
Oh yeah.
So to me, that's just a sign of maturity. And it's okay to have those feelings. And again, I wish more players would speak out like this. So it's refreshing to hear.
No, yeah. Because, I mean, without a doubt, like, there's times where, you know, I mean, I don't know you can't really blame anybody for it, but you come from a high school, or you come from, you know, whatever your situation is. You know, mine was a little bit more humbling, but at the same time, you're like, you know, for me, I'm like, you know, I had all these options, and then this is the school I wanted to go to. I don't regret it at all. But you start to think, like, you know, like, I'm not that person that I thought I was. You know, like, guys, you know, and it's the truth. Like, I'm sure everybody comes in and, you know, like, honestly, I'd consider you trash if you didn't think you were the best player. But you got to have that mindset, but then at the same time, you have to also have that humbleness and understand, like, I can still get better. I can still do this. And situations like this is when I can say, I can look back and be like, you know what, I obviously need to get better. And I look back at the film, I look at things I can fix. And overall, I think it helps a lot, and it ends up making yourself an even better player.
Now, most definitely, I agree with you, man. And, being a wide receiver is kind of tricky because, you guys have the mentality of you want the ball all the time. And it's understandably so. You should want the ball every time. But being at USC and in the system you guys are in, it's going – who knows who it's going to on any given play. So you just have to stay ready. And I think that's the biggest thing for a player to understand in that system. Just stay ready because you never know when your time is coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a big thing. That was another thing too. Like, the worst part was you could run a great route. I think I forget what game it was. Stanford, first quarter. Stanford first quarter. We had a play. Great route. I was wide open. I was just like, okay, this is gonna be my first catch. In my head, Amra had a 10-yard out. It was third and 8. And I was wide open. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. I'm just first down. Like, this is my big break. But he ended up throwing it to Amra for the first down. And that, like, he was open too. So that's just, part of the system. And, the unfortunate part about it is, you can't dictate when you're gonna get the ball, no matter how open you are.
Right.
Hey, but you got open.
Yeah. That was the important part. I was like, every time they show that
keep
clip,
getting open and they gonna come. Trust me.
Trust
me. And what your dad said, showing you those stats, it's funny you say that because even today I was looking at Michael Pittman's freshman stats, and I think his freshman year he had like 6 catches for 82 yards, and he's gone now, so we could talk freely. Yeah. But his dad was in an uproar about his playing time early on at SC. And exactly. look how it all turned out because he stayed the course, though. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the hard part. Even she's talking to guys like Michael and Tyler, just things like – because, I'm not – honestly, I was frustrated. And, like, going through every game I'd play, I'd be like, you know what, dude, like, I only went in for 8 plays. I only did this. And then it was Tyler who told me, he's like, look, dude. He's like, I get it. He's different. He redshirted, but he was telling me, like, he's like, honestly, treat it as a challenge. Like, if you can't show NFL scouts that you're worthy of playing 3 years, or you can't do whatever you got to do in 3 years, he's like, treat it as a challenge. He's like, look at it. He's like, understand that there's no more time to jack around at practice. There's no more time to crack jokes on the side. He's like, from now on, it's business. And if this is what you want to do, you only you can control that. And, I think Tyler's like to me, the realest. Tyler and Amra are probably the realest dudes I've ever been around in my life. And they don't sugarcoat when I ask them stuff. They don't care about my feelings. They just tell me the truth. And honestly, like, it's hard to get that because a lot of times people, just not just people like football, but like people in general are afraid to tell you, what you don't want to hear. And for me personally, if I don't hear that, then I can't fix it. If I think sugar, salt, I won't know the difference. Right. So that's like a big thing, and that's one thing that I appreciate them for doing.
Right. That's a good segue. I was just about to ask you about the brotherhood amongst the receivers. There's a lot of talent in that receiver room at USC amongst all you guys, and it's good to hear that you guys are motivating each other and helping each other along the way. And I was gonna ask you who those guys were that you kind of look up to in the receiver room.
For sure would be Tyler and Amra. Those are 2 dudes I've known Amra. I've competed against him since we were 8. Tyler is another dude I met. I met him actually on the baseball field. He was a pitcher, but ever since then, just talking to him and just dudes who like I said, you want to if you surround yourself with bozos, you're gonna be a bozo. So dudes who you want to be like and who have the same mindset as you and are willing to give you like true criticism. Like Amra knows, like, I'll tell him if he does something bad, I'll be like, look, dude, that was bad. Like, no, I'm not like, I don't hate him. I'm not trying to put him down, but I'm just going to let him know the truth. Yeah. And, honestly, I feel like in the receiver room, that's what we have the most is, for the most part, I feel like we just tell each other, it is what it is. Like, if you got a bad release, I'll tell you it was bad. Like, I'm not going to Like it might work. I'm like, hey, dude, if you go against, somebody a little bit better, I don't know if that's going to work. It's just truth and, just willing to accept criticism and willing to give positive criticism too.
I mean, that's how y'all stay the best receiving core in the country, though, and keep that status by
without a doubt.
Attitude, though. That's
And John, you talked about
tough love.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead. I was just saying tough love.
John, you talked about the frustration part of this, but going against those guys in practice every day alongside you, and then also playing against guys like Chris on the defensive side, how does that help you on a day-to-day basis get better? And do you think that's a big reason why you sort of have stayed the course at USC?
Yeah, I think for sure. I feel like I get better going against those guys, and then also being around, I feel like being around those receivers that have that mindset, I feel like it just naturally rubs off on you. And, if I hear the way Amara talks about guys, then naturally I'm gonna have that same thing. It's gonna end up rubbing off on me. So I definitely feel like I've gotten better, and I feel like, that mindset has allowed me to kind of stick with it and kind of, try to push myself to be even better than I was last year.
I want to kind of circle back a little bit to your route getting to USC. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure many people know this, but you started off your high school career at Mater Dei.
Correct.
And then ended up at Sarah.
Right.
And took the blue shirt route to eventually enroll at USC. Was there, first of all, was there any consideration to follow Dad and go to Bishop Amat? And then talk about, your whole route of getting to USC and why you chose that route.
Okay, I'll kind of start from the bottom. So originally I went to Mater Dei. I played quarterback at the time, and I was, Mater Dei, school, pretty good school. Coach Robinson, we went to the camps. We were looking around for, what school we should go to, and trying to debate on. We're trying to debate on. Go outside.
We got drones coming overhead.
Trying to debate on, what idea I wanted and what I wanted to do, going into the whole high school situation. And so originally Mater Dei, went there, freshman year, played on the freshman team pretty well. Then after that, transition, sophomore year came around, and when I played, obviously JT, ended up going to USC. So I was like, I love the game. I love football. And so I decided to kind of try receiver, but then, that was just because I wasn't playing sophomore year. And so then transferred to Sarah, wanted to play quarterback again at Sarah.
Okay.
So that junior year, I tried quarterback, but what happened was Coach Altenberg had saw me play receiver against them when they played them that year before. So he said, what? I saw you at receiver. I could see potential there. And I was like, Coach, I don't know. I'm a quarterback, whatever. So then got to a point where I would do both. And then he's like, I think you should stick with receiver. So when I went to receiver at Sarah, I just stayed with it my junior year. Senior year came around, and then now decision time where to go to college. I had – I think I was the day before signing day, I got a call from Oregon, and I probably sat on the phone with them for about an hour and a half. And I was, thinking should I go to Oregon? Oregon was, it wasn't the dream school that SC was, but it was the dream school, it was the uniforms, everything about it. And so at the end, I was like, you know what? I don't mind waiting a semester just because I loved USC that much. And so I took that blue shirt route, took a semester off campus, and then enrolled in SC.
Yeah, and and I think that goes back to understanding why you might have been a little bit frustrated at the end of the year, because you made that sacrifice.
Right.
And so I wanted to bring you back through that so people have an understanding of where you're coming from. Because those are good feelings and those are natural competitive feelings. Mm-hmm. You gave up a free ride to another school that was guaranteed for the chance to get a free ride to your dream school. And I think people should really focus on that, because that's a sacrifice. And the fact that you're still here is even better.
No, yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. And, you know, that's, like you said, you know, that was definitely a source of frustration. And, you know, when you go through times like that, it's, you know, all these ideas like what if pops in your head. And, you know, that was definitely one of them. Like, you know, I was thinking, you know, what if, but then at the same time, you know, it wouldn't be the same. You know, I don't think I would get that same satisfaction if, like, that time I got to step out against SC versus the time I got to step out against if I was playing for Oregon. So I think that I definitely get more satisfaction from SC.
And John, I mean, so you're a guy, you just went over it. Like, you didn't have a linear path, right? You faced a lot of adversity. You changed positions, you changed schools. How has that helped you at a place like USC, where you're around a lot of guys that maybe haven't been through that same path that has been as sort of ever changing as yours was?
And that's actually a good question. That's actually in my locker, I have a paper hanging up on the side of my, like right when we open up the locker. And it's like in big bold letters, it says, adversity isn't anything new. So, you know, that's kind of the idea. Just, I feel like, you know, just looking back and, you know, even talking to my dad again, like you said, you know, the adversity, I feel like, you know, I understand, you know, people have different levels of adversity, and I get that. But I think for me, you know, my whole life, everything good that's happened has came with adversity. So you can go down even like as simple as, you know, I finally get to SC. I finally get the dream school, everything I wanted. I'm finally here. And the reason why I'm here is the guy who is the reason why I'm here isn't able to be there. And that's, you know, that's just adversity like that, you know, like thinking, hey, you know what? I'd love, like I'm moving. I remember the day I'm moving in my stuff, and, you know, I had to do it alone because my mom couldn't leave my dad at the hospital.
Right.
So it's like things like that where, you know, it seems like things are going in a positive direction, and there's always that setback. So, you know, like I said, get like spring ball, things going well, I pulled my hamstring. You know, it's just things like that. It's frustrating, of course, but then at the same time, it's like, you know, it is what it is, and you just got to find a way to get through it.
Like they say, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, I mean, you're climbing those steps, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's move forward now. Let's talk about today and the future. The new coaching staff, the new energy, the vibe. Talk about that, because it's real, and the Trojan family is actually feeling it, even though they can't see it right now.
Right. No, definitely. It's definitely real. You know, it really started showing in the last couple of games, I think. I feel like it's a hard concept to grasp from the outside looking in. But as the more and more you play in the system, the more and more you start to get it. So like, and it's the big thing about the offense that kind of goes, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, is you have to be on the same page with the quarterback, and that's essential. So if I see something and Keaton doesn't see it, then that looks like a busted play. You know, it's kind of hard to, like for instance, the Iowa game, Drake London had a catch, and, you know, like the read wasn't there. Like what Keaton saw wasn't there, but it ended up working out. So like stuff like that where, you know, guys are sitting in holes where, you know, the quarterback wants you to, like after, okay, we practiced that a lot. He sits in that hole, now he's ready.
Right.
Versus the beginning of the season where Keaton might have been like, oh, I want you to sit in that hole, but the guy kept running. So it's like over time, you start to get the concept of the offense, and, you know, it's definitely starting to show, especially with, you know, older guys starting to really get a grasp of it, and guys who've been under the system for a year or longer.
What do you guys think about the new energy, though, the new vibe, the workouts? I mean,
oh
yeah, that.
I think that's helping a lot too. You know, I think Todd Orlando, you know, on the defensive side of the ball, you're just seeing the first practice, the energy that they brought was significantly different. I know there was versus last year, like, you know, even it took us by surprise because they were like, we're no pads, and, defenses shedding blocks and jumping to the ball. So we're like, okay, like, is this what we're going to do now? Like, you guys didn't do that all last year. But then now they're starting to do it. So now it's like, okay, now the energy of practice raises that much higher. Right. So, like, I remember, Greg Johnson loved to do to death. I'm going to block him, and, like, we're no pads and helmets. I'm not going to, like, buck him. Right. So I'm going to, like, set my feet to go block him, and he sheds the block. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I can't grab you. I'm not going to hit you with my helmet. He's like, nah, we're to the ball now. I'm like, okay. So, like, hearing things like that where, of course at time it's frustrating in practice, but now, looking back at it, when he did that, okay, now my energy raises, and now I'm going up another notch. So, I think that's incredibly helpful and, makes everybody better.
I want to just take a 5-second dramatic pause for that to sink in for everybody who's going to be watching this. Practices are going to be a little bit more physical, it sounds like.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. They already,
Listen, I know
how DBs are.
Guys don't like that, but this defense needs to practice that way. I'm telling you, they have to.
Oh no, we don't mind. They I'll tell you a little funny inside joke. We're watching film before the first day, and the new DB coach, Coach Williams, he comes in, and he goes, look, you guys, we're gonna be a lot more physical. We're gonna be hitting you guys a little bit harder. He's like, I don't want you guys to get offended. I want fights. We're just here to get better. And I'm like, okay, like these dudes, DBs, they're all talk, but then they actually did it. So, seeing more physical practice, I think will definitely help. And, we're looking forward to it.
We know that I'm on Ross photobombing you back there on purpose. So just tell him to slide on in, say hello.
You can say what's up. It's cool. We know.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, shirt on.
What's up?
There it is.
What's up,
How you doing, Amon-Ra?
How you doing?
Thanks for joining us. Just wanted to say hello.
Yep.
Now stop stealing his time. There you go. We'll get Amon-Ra on later.
Well, I got a question, and Amon can answer it if he wants to. The Big Man Cook-Off Challenge. Everybody's been watching this all over Instagram. I want to know what you got, John.
Okay, at first, I think you like Voorhees, huh? Yeah. We both like Voorhees, but he got eliminated. Yes, he got eliminated by Vera Tucker.
Yeah.
But they're making some bread.
Vera Tucker's his was good. Voorhees had a whole spread though.
My thing is like they don't. Voorhees winner. they didn't invite us because they know we would.
Right. That's who should have been the judges. The players should have been the judges.
It's like you can make it look good, but like what it tastes like.
Yeah. No doubt.
I was saying this the other night. You know what? If you guys never played another down of football, those guys could open up a restaurant and the line would be around the block. It would make Howlin' Ray's look like Jack in the Box.
They did I saw a cheese stuffed burger.
Mm-hmm.
Who did it? But they was making some dishes. Yeah. They don't ever do that. I just want you to know, man, everybody listening, they don't ever do that around here.
Well, they don't have time. You know what it's like being a full-time student athlete.
And to be honest, you know who else who decided not to cheat? That if it was me, I would have cheated and won. Jason Rodriguez. His dad's a chef.
Yeah.
I just had him make all the dishes and just film it.
I've had the opportunity to sample some of his.
Yeah, we're big fans of the
very legit
cookouts.
Blake.
I was gonna say, like, J-Rod's dad, he came through with some peanut brittle after the first day of spring practice, man.
Really?
Yeah, we stand in our little quarters there in the media section, and that we're hungry. You know what I mean? And that's.
I'm gonna text him right now and be like, "Hey, where's your dad?"
Right. Hey, after the first practice, tell your pops to have a grill going.
Had a grill. We'll have a grill out there. We'll get him a little 5-star setup.
Man, hey, shoot.
So when things do get back to normal, and if you can reflect back, when you're doing your one-on-ones and against the DBs, we know Chris Steele likes to talk. Who are some of the DBs that you like to go up against just to really test your mettle?
I think Max Williams. I would for sure say Max, just because I feel like I choose Max because not only he's patient, but he knows me the best out of all of them. I've gone against him. Think about like back at Sarah.
Right.
Literally, we would do one-on-ones, and he wouldn't go with anybody else but me, Kobe, and Brian. And most of the time, Brian went to DB. So it was really just me and Kobe. And sometimes, like, Kobe switch off. But I think for the most part, I've gone against Max for, I want to say, like, 2-3 years straight. So, like, when I make a move, and if it looks like he's seen it before, he's not going to fall for it. So that's what I like. And, DBs watch film, and I want to be able to trick you even if you think you know what's going on,
Right.
So that I feel like that really tests me and tests my abilities to see how well I can move you. Because if he goes like moves, then I know that's something he's never seen before.
Prentice used to always tell me, you remember Prentice Gill, right?
Yeah.
Prentice used to always tell me I want my receivers to make every route look the same.
Exactly. And it has to, and even the releases off the line, it has to all look. You have to sell which way. If you don't sell it, then he's not gonna fall for it.
Speaking on the coaching, Coach Colbert, what does he bring to the table? Is he a technician? Talk about his strengths and what you're really picking up from him.
One thing I'm picking up is, of course, he is big on, like everybody says, he receiver you. His thing is making sure he doesn't care, for Pitt, for example, he didn't worry about how high he got drafted. He worried to make sure that when he does get drafted and he's there, that he is effective and it translates. So everything that we do on the field, it has to translate. So a time in practice, somebody fumbled, and he'll even go to the depth to where he'll pull up his own clips of him messing up. So there was a time where I caught a bubble screen and I cut like back into the middle of the field. And he's like, you know what, it might work now, but in the NFL, it doesn't work. And sure enough, he pulled up a clip of him just getting clobbered, right? And his thing was, but look at the end of the play. He ends up hawking the guy down and trying to get a rake at the ball. So it's like things like that translates to the NFL. I think he brings to the table best out of everybody because he's been there. And he's been around guys like Steve Smith. He's been around guys like Chad Johnson. And he is able to tell us and show us like real life situations that, I wouldn't know unless he told me.
Do you pull up any of Dad's old film to pick up some of his little stuff?
Nah, I pull up his for to give me a hard time, but I just tell him I don't want to do that because I just tell him he's old school. Like I've already passed his level. I'm trying to better myself.
That's a good one. I'm gonna remind him you said that when I see him next time.
No, of course. Tell him. Be like isn't he still faster, taller than you, stronger than you? I tell him even now, even though it's a little situation, I still tell him, hey, I'm faster than you before and after.
Hey, be careful though. Coach has got the old man moves for you. So
yeah, that's what he was telling me. He's like, he said, you may be faster than me, but you can't spend as much as I can. And I was like,
right.
Go ahead, Blake.
Hey, John, who's the funniest guy on the USC football team right now?
Funniest. Right now, who used to be the funniest was C.J. Pollard. Oh my goodness, he was. But right now, I want to say that's a hard one. I want to say either Britton Allen or probably Britton Allen. I think he's just or Zach Wilson. I think Zach's pretty funny.
Really?
But
that's the second person in the secondary who's been tabbed as funny. Isaac Taylor Stewart, believe it or not, has been tabbed as one of the funny players. Really?
Isaac Taylor Stewart, he's just goofy. Like he's just a goofball. Like, but CJ and Braden would make me like laugh. Oh my goodness.
We had his dad on last week, and we're going to miss CJ too. But you know what? He got that degree, and we know where he's moving on to, and we think he's going to have some success there as well. And whatever he does is, CJ is CJ, and he's going to be a Trojan.
Craziest thing is his mom is my mom's best friend.
Okay.
And my dad is his best friend. And his mom and his dad introduced my mom and my dad together. It's crazy. They've known each other. My mom and his mom have known each other since they were, I want to say they were like 5 years old.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
They went to high school together.
I mean, you guys really are family.
Yeah,
Oh,
total
yeah.
family, man. Jeez.
CJ's always been like that. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, you're both, your families are from LA. So can you talk about how significant it is that Chris Claiborne and Hayes Pollard have been brought back into the fold? Can you talk about the significance of that? It
brings, for me personally, it brings an extreme level of significance because, you know, these are dudes that I was watching, like guys, like I physically, like when I was a little kid, I was looking up to them like, damn, like I want to be like you guys one day. And to see them now step in as a coaching position is just, it's amazing. And it's kind of shows that Trojan family, and especially like the influence that, you know, I feel like when they speak, it like hits a different part of my brain where it's like, okay, like this is the same dude that, you know, I used to look up to, like same dude I asked to sign a jersey or a ball, and now I'm in his shoes, and he can kind of tell me his experiences, and I think that's just incredible.
I definitely think it's special for LA natives such as themselves and yourself staying connected to USC. You know, it emphasizes that network and that alumni group that SC is always preaching and talking about. And it's just good to see that. I think that these are really steps towards building that wall around California and keeping all this great California talent home at SC and start winning some national championships again, really.
And even to your point, like, I mean, I feel like dudes who, you know, Raylan Goforth texted me this when I said I wanted to come, and when he said he was coming. And I had told him, I was like, you know, we talked before, and I was like, yeah, hey, Raylan, like, you know, I'm SC's going to be the move. He's like, me too, I'm going to go to SC. And his next text was, I think I have it saved, was like, let's bring back that championship again. And it's dudes who have actually been there and have seen, I mean, because, you know, all respect, but I don't think, like, not a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm a UCLA fan. You know, like, everybody has that, like, SC respect, SC love.
Trojan Town, baby.
And that's what it is. And that's the truth of the matter. And, you know, every kid remembers Reggie Bush. You can't ask anybody and say, hey, do you know Reggie Bush? They're going to be like, no. Every kid knows Reggie Bush, and every kid looks up to that. And exactly, like to your picture, Marquis Step. Like, when we heard Reggie Bush was going to be there, I swear every kid on the team was like, there was no, like, going into the game, I was like, there's no way we lose. Because they legitimately were willing to die on that field for Reggie. And, you know, when you're around at times where Reggie Bush was running up and down the sideline winning national championships, that's what you remember about SC, and that's what you want. And, you know, we're trying our absolute hardest, and we're going to make that happen to bring SC back to that point where they were.
And I think the administration is behind you 100% with that.
Right. And I was just about to say that, Mark. The players, I never lost faith in y'all. It was other things going on.
Right. Look what they're doing behind the scenes. They're bringing back the Chris Claibornes, the Hayes Pollards. They're building up that support staff that'll help with recruiting. Imagine, I don't know if you're aware of this, but imagine if Reggie Bush is allowed to come back to USC officially. You're in a position right now to be on a team that literally can explode again and grab the country, you know, and just grab that national headline. This is a good time to be at USC.
Man, exactly.
Yeah.
COVID had to happen, man.
Right. And
especially with all the buildup that's happening, you know, it's Coach Harrell kind of talks to us in an offensive meeting, like, you know, there's times where, you know, not everybody thinks you're going to be great. And teams are going to respect you for who you are, but some teams are going to be like, you know what, they're not national contenders, and having that idea where you're like that, not the underdog almost, but not the underdog, but still, not where you want to be, and having that idea that we're getting overlooked, we're not who we want to be seen as, kind of puts a chip on your shoulder and really pushes us every day.
No, you guys should definitely be playing with a chip on your shoulder, especially going into this upcoming season, because, not even with SC, just the Pac-12 in general, I don't think they get the respect from the rest of the country. But I've always told people it's going to take USC to get back in the national stage to bring that respect back to the West Coast, because we're the only school that can really do it.
Exactly.
Like, so John, if you were to, we ask this to everyone we have on, if you're playing a GM and you had to pick one guy on offense and one guy on defense, who are you starting your team with?
In the NFL or on SC?
Your choice. And we know who your roommate is, so be careful. He might be lurking over your shoulder.
Yeah, he knows I'm not going to choose him. Let me go defensively.
I'm on the spot with this one, Scott or Mark. Sorry.
Talanoa probably defensively.
Talanoa.
Yeah, I just feel like because I know one thing about Talanoa is I know he'll no matter what. And I've never seen that kid loaf. And I know he does everything the right way. He gives us 100%. So Talanoa probably defensively, and offensively. Offensively, let's go. I'm trying so hard not to choose him.
You could always choose yourself.
There you go.
To be honest, yeah, I go myself. Yeah, for sure. Trust yourself over everything.
I mean, that's true.
I was trying to stay away from myself. I was going to say that, but
hey, look, I wouldn't expect anything less from a USC receiver. Come on.
Yeah, man. Like I was like, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't be that.
That room's full of dudes. You have to be that guy.
Yeah. That's
hey, John, speaking of pros, man, who do you model yourself after in the pro game today?
Davante Adams.
That wasn't hard.
No, Davante Adams. Just because, for multiple reasons. I got a chance to talk to him. His mindset, same thing. Wasn't a high draft pick. Still overlooked to this day, in my opinion. I feel like he's for sure the best, if not the second best. But still overlooked. Works his butt off, like he hasn't made it yet. And his mindset that he takes into everything that he does. That's one thing. I got a book upstairs where I just write down just notes people tell me, things people tell me, and the quote that he uses is treat everything like you do when you wipe your butt. He used a different word, but he said you never do a halfway job of that. He's like think about it. Every time you do it, you do it all the way. You don't do a halfway job. So he's like, if you treat everything in your life like every move like you're not going to do a halfway job of it, he's like, you'll automatically be top tier just alone. He's like practice. I got lucky because his brother is on the same team as him, and he was telling me in practice, Davante Adams railed him because he had caught a slant and sprint like 10 yards and eased up. He sprint 10 yards after the catch and eased up. And he said he railed him because Davante Adams says every time you catch it, finish the end zone. So he's like, are you finishing to the 50-yard line to get tackled? Obviously, there's some situations where if you're no huddle and they're like, okay, go. But if you ever get that, there's times where you can finish. He said, why halfway do it? So that, that dude
that's
is
dope too, that you guys get to work out with Equinemius and get that get his perspective on the program, the pro game and what it takes to be an NFL wide receiver. You know, because he's in a hell of a receiver room too with Devontae.
Yeah, and I think that's by far I model everything after him.
You know, besides you getting ready to explode this season, who's a player that everyone should keep an eye out on offense that's ready to just pop out?
I'll give you two. I'll give you this guy upstairs. We talk like it's no more games, no more.
Wait, he was playing games before?
Not really, but like it's there's that like fine line where not really playing games. I guess that's a bad word, but like it's right now it's on another level of serious. And we go about that every day, and also Marquise Step. I know that we talk. We're friends. We talk. We were on FaceTime with him yesterday. He's out there working.
Now, is he back in Indianapolis?
Yeah, he's back in Indy. Yeah. Okay. So he's out there working. He's getting back in shape. After the ankle thing, trying to get it healthy.
Right.
And he's leaning out a little bit too. And
really,
yeah, that's
you don't want him to lean out too much. I mean, I know he's still gonna be a strong guy.
Yeah, we tell him to lean out. He's not going.
But his combination of strength and speed is sick.
Yeah, and he's working too. So I think those are two guys that I know, and I have absolute trust in, and I know that they're doing the right thing and getting better and about to explode.
I know I can't wait to see you on the field this year. There's a couple of wide receiver spots open for the taking right now, and I got my money on you, John. So don't let me down.
I appreciate that. I trust me, I won't. I appreciate it.
What I saw last spring from you, I was impressed. Like, coming out of high school, I was like, okay, we got John Jackson's son. I knew you was JJ's son at first.
No, yeah.
JJ's son, cool. He's blue shirted. We'll see. But when I saw you that spring, I was like, oh, this dude is legit.
I appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you fall camp take one of those spots, man.
Yeah,
Man, I appreciate it.
I don't think people realize the size that you have. People think of you maybe as a small or slight receiver. There's nothing slight or small about you.
Yeah. I cut. Yeah, I cut down a little bit during this quarantine, and I started lifting a lot more. And we're trying to, like I said, getting ready, trying to like you said, taking that receiver spot, and trying my absolute best, get ready and prepare for this season, and make the most of it. Hopefully, I can blow up.
Where do you prefer lining up? X, Y, Z? Does it matter?
To be honest, it doesn't matter. I mean, I like I like them all. I feel like it's kind of the same going in. I don't really have a favorite. I mean, slot. I feel like it's kind of slot. I feel like I feel more comfortable, but at the same time, outside. I love outside, and it's a different level. So I mean, it's honestly wherever they decide to put me.
Okay.
And it's a surprise to me. This is news to me, finding out that you've only been playing receiver since your junior year of high school. So,
yeah. It was,
to me, that growth from then to now is incredible, man. So just keep working hard, and everything you wanted, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Are your baseball aspirations still out there, or are they kind of done?
No, I mean, my mom asks me that all the time. No, I think not really. I think we're just gonna lock in on football, man. We're gonna have to find a way to make it work. We're gonna make it work.
Hey, you know what? If Drake London has to carry that burden of being the only two courts,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like you would get a lot of posts on the USC Athletics if you playing both. Get a couple doubles. Hey, USC football and baseball. But I think we're gonna roll with it. I think we're gonna play it by ear. You never know.
Well, I don't know if anybody else has any questions, Blake. John, thanks so much again for coming on tonight or today. Spending a little time with the Trojan family. Is there anything you want to convey, before you let you cut loose and get back to your life?
Nah, man. Just the only thing is, you know, you guys can count on me working out, gonna be ready for the season, ready to take this thing over.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I'll tell you what, we're chomping at the bit to get out there and watch you guys. I know the fans are dying to see you. They were robbed of the spring as well. They were going to be allowed out there to watch you guys practice and kind of help build that energy that you guys feed off of.
Right.
So the sooner you guys can get out there for your voluntary workouts and start building up for that Alabama.
At least he gets it. At least he gets the voluntary part.
Right. Well, I think we all agree that you guys
volunteer for those workouts when you sign that scholarship.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, we got an optional workout today.
Yeah, I think everyone will agree you guys want to be there, though, and you're looking forward to that game in Dallas against Alabama. Because, you know, the season didn't end well, and what a great way to get 2020 rolling. Then, you know, go down Dallas, get a win, and
definitely
wake up America. Say USC's back.
Exactly. And, you know, trust me when I say this. I know me and him upstairs is training like that game's gonna happen, and like that game needs to something magnificent needs to happen that day. And, you know, people are gonna figure it out, and, you know, that's what we're working on, and that's what we're working towards.
Outstanding.
Thanks for your time today, man. Appreciate you.
Always. No, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate it.
Always good talking to you, man.
I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, say hi to your dad.
I will. Have a good one.
Take care. Fight on.
See you.